I named Archvile, and it actually came from two sources.
I spoke with Sandy Petersen, classic Doom and Quake developer, and in this one portion of the interview, he taught me some awesome things about how id Software created the Doom monsters, and he named most of them. You're going to learn some really awesome stuff today, so make sure you make it to the end. Get psyched.
Throughout Doom and Quake, I named all of the monsters except for the Cyberdemon, which was already named before I came on for obvious reasons.
So the Archvile would be one of them, and I want to start with that.
I named Archvile, and it actually came from two sources. One was a Jack Vance story, which had evil creatures called Archvolts, and the other was from a Steve O'Donnellson book, which had creatures called Urviles. So I kind of put them together and had Archviles. Now, what had happened is that John Carmack had come to the team and said, I've invented a system where you can resurrect a creature from its corpse. So we said, cool. So he put that in. So the job was to make a creature that would do that. And the artist made the creature. And we also needed to give it an attack. And since it, basically what it does is it walks around, and if it comes over a corpse, then it does its resurrection animation and the guy comes back to life. But here's a cool thing. If the corpse has been jibbed, it can't resurrect it because the jibs don't know who they were.
Oh, they don't have that identity.
Because they're generic, right? But the corpse of an imp knows it's an imp. It'll come back corpse. But so if you can get a guy jibbed, then the Archvile can't resurrect it.
See, I like the Archvile because it's a lot different than anything you see up at that point. The resurrection and the fire column
and the
taking
attack
cover.
that is kind of like the BFG in a sense.
Yeah. How do you go about?
Sight, right?
How do you design, when you're thinking from a game design perspective, how do you balance an attack like that the player's never seen before, that's completely new, taking cover? How do you work with that?
Luckily, because Doom is a single player game in a sense, as you against the monster. I mean, yeah, there's multiplayer, but right? But so game balance isn't a thing in the same way that it was when I worked at, say, Ensemble Studios. Because having a monster that's super dangerous and scary was actually cool for us. We thought, oh, the first time they see this thing, he's going to kill him for sure. Then the second time they see this thing, they're going to realize it's resurrecting corpses, and then it's going to be a nightmare. And every time they see it, they're going to quick go to some big gun and blow it up. And that was cool because it made the players act like they were scared.
Yeah.
But, I'm pretty. So that was our idea was that it's new and different, and they have to figure out how to beat it. And so it's more interesting than just another thing that you fire rockets at.
I think it's cool.
That was the idea.
It is cool how you put it together because he first appears in map 11, and there's not a lot around him. Like you said, it's mostly you and the Archvile to get used to those mechanics.
Doesn't really get a chance to resurrect much there. But then later on, we even had things where there was two Archviles in an area, and sometimes they would tag team resurrect just randomly, and then players would their heads would explode, right? They were doing that.
Or the feeling when you just finish a big gigantic fight, you're relieved in an Archvile.
And then he goes, "Oh, okay, let's heal these things." I've seen it heal a spider Mastermind before, so that was pretty sad for the players. But I think I don't think we have any places where there's a Archvile and a Cyberdemon, though. That would be really, really mean.
That would be cool.
That guy,
I really like how he stands out. And isn't it true that when Bobby Prince was doing the sound, he mixed a little girl saying why? Because this is a healer that's just trying to help his friends, right? That's the story behind it. Is that true?
It's possible. I have not heard that story.
Yeah,
and I knew Bobby Prince pretty well. But it still could be true. He didn't tell me everything, right? So one of the things I named was the Hell Barons, the Barons of Hell, because originally they were called the Bruiser Brothers. There was those two guys as the bosses of the Ninth Level. They were just the Bruiser Brothers, and we called them that all the time. And before it went out, I said, "Are we going to call them the Bruiser Brothers?" And they said, "Well, no." So I came up with Barons of Hell, and then in Doom 2, I decided that the problem with the Barons of Hell was that they were boring to kill because it took forever to kill them.
They are pretty tanky. Right? You got a lot of health.
And other than that, they're just like another imp, except bigger. So I created a thing called the Hell Knight, which was, I said, look, just take one of the Barons of Hell, change the texture in some easy way, which they did. They just made it paler, and now we have one that has 500 hit points, and I can use it more often in more interesting ways. It can be a part of a group and something, you know. It doesn't have to be all by itself while you plink away with your pistol.
Yeah,
so that was one of the things I created. I did not create the Barons of Hell. So another thing I created was I really, really liked the Spider Mastermind.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's
It
iconic.
looks good. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Okay, so the Spider Mastermind has the issue. It's kind of odd to have him as the boss of the final level of Doom because he seems weaker than the Cyberdemon. Well, here's the story. I did the maps for both the Cyberdemon and the Spider Mastermind, and I played every level starting with just a pistol.
Yeah.
Because every level had to be beaten by a guy with just a pistol. So I didn't play them with all the stuff I'd accumulated during the game. I'd never played it that way. I always played it just with a pistol. And I guarantee you, if you start with just a pistol, the Spider Mastermind is tougher than the level on which you meet the Cyberdemon. Plus, I always felt the Spider Mastermind looks more terrifying.
Right.
But the fact is that he is weaker.
Yeah, you don't have the BFG going in and getting close and letting the tracers do what they do. You just don't have that.
Look, what can I say? Try it with a pistol. And also, we did that. Like John Romero did that level in Doom 2 where there's a Spider Mastermind fighting a Cyberdemon.
Yep.
And on that level, we watched it, and the spider wins like a third of the time, a fourth of the time, something like that. And basically, if he gets the Cyberdemon to pain enough that he loses some of his rockets, then the spider will kill him. But usually the Cyberdemon wins.
It's the chain gun hit scan you really have to watch, because if that gets you and that locks on, you're going to be hurting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's a powerful monster, but he kind of was underwhelming compared to what the promise of him is.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Doom 2, I said I want to have baby spiders, and that's where those came from. I basically demanded baby spiders, and the artist made them for me. And to make them more interesting, they fire. You know what they fire.
The plasma, yeah.
So
it's nice to have those little mini versions, like you said with the Hell Knight, and the plasma is a different type of projectile, right?
Yes. And the spider babies are pretty scary, really, when you see them, because they just sit there and blaze away at you with their plasma bolts, and you're like, oh.
Yeah,
I mean, what the Spider Mastermind is actually shooting, it's a chain shotgun.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's a chain gun that fires shotgun blasts, and that's what he has.
I did not know that.
And that's why it seems to scatter all around you, because it's a shotgun.
That's even scarier, Sandy.
Anyway, that's what we gave him, but it wasn't enough. Like I said, if you keep your distance, anyway. So another creature that I worked with early on is we had the Lost Souls, and the original Lost Souls were little skulls with horns and a green glow. And my idea was, what if we have these things sit back and plink at you from a distance? And they said, okay, we can do that. And then Adrian Carmack came up and he said, how about this? And he had the new Lost Souls, the flaming skull. And he said, what if it flies at you like a rocket and just hits you? And that was so much better than what we'd come up with before, especially me, that it immediately took over. So that's all on Adrian Carmack making the cool Lost Souls. And later on in Quake, we had the Scrags, which basically function the same as the Lost Souls would have functioned. So if you want to see what they're like, look at the Scrags. But, really, Quake could have done with something like a Lost Soul. I guess I had the Fiend, which leaps at you.
It's neat because it puts pressure on the player, and, you can't let them go. They're small, they're tiny, but if they get in groups, through a pain elemental...
And not only that, but if you're carrying around a rocket launcher like John Romero did all the time, then they're actually kind of scary.
Yeah.
Because if you use a rocket launcher around a Lost Soul, there's like a real risk.
Yeah, that's self-damage. I think, too, coming into Doom 2, the pain elemental, it's iconic because...
my invention, not my design.
So how did that name come about?
The artist, I said, we want more creatures, and the artist says, basically the way we did the art, and since it was all sprites, you had to do the thing in 8 different directions, right? Now, so monsters that reflected were like they hated the Cyberdemon because you couldn't reflect him because he was asymmetrical. But they said, hey, let's do another creature that's like the Cacodemon, because then it doesn't have a walk animation, and that's why it floats. Okay. Then it was my idea to have it shoot Lost Souls. Then when it dies, it spits out 3. Well, actually, there's a max limit of monsters in each level, and it can only spit out Lost Souls if the monster level isn't maxed out. So in levels with a lot of monsters, sometimes the pain elementals can't do much. But that was the idea behind them, that they were easy to make as a monster without infringing on the art time to do other important things. And they had a cool effect. And one of the effects that they had was that since John Romero didn't care about Doom 2, he was just doing Quake, we couldn't get him to fix anything in Doom 2. And John Romero was doing levels for Doom 2, so he couldn't program anything in. And all the other programmers, were like Dave Taylor, and they were all doing Quake, right?
Yeah.
So nothing was going to be changed for Doom 2. And what that meant was you have the Archvile resurrecting monsters, you have the Pain Elemental producing new monsters, and it messed up the monster count at the end of the game. That's why you can have more than 100%.
Yep.
Because it would have been so simple to put one. I think how easy the math would be to fix that. But John Romero wouldn't even do that.
I think
it was like, okay.
I think they have left an impact. Kind of jumping back to the Pain Elemental a little bit. I like how it's different. Like, do you remember where the name came from that, or how that originated?
It was my name.
Was it like
all of them was named by me? So what happened? I thought, okay, what would be a cool thing? And I was thinking about these, not the elementals from D&D,
right,
but the elementals from like psychic stuff. With an elemental is an evil spirit that is like non-sentient. It was never a person. So I thought of that, and I said I can't just call it an elemental because they'll think it's supposed to be a fire monster, a fire demon or something.
Yeah, something
so
like that.
Remember I'd worked on Call of Cthulhu and horror topics for a long time, so I got pretty good at coming up with creepy names. I thought Pain Elemental sounded pretty creepy, and the fact that it's shooting out lost souls I thought would make people wonder is it torturing them in its stomach before it shoots them out? Because the lost souls are literally supposed to be the damned, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens to you if they win. You become one of those things.
You see it prepare to launch out of the mouth and everything, and it's.
Right. That was Adrian doing that. He is such a good artist.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Now the Mancubus I didn't come up with, but of course I named.
Yeah.
Because he looked like he was half human at some point, so I thought of Incubus, but he's not really Incubus, so it became Mancubus. And then, as I think I've said before, he is totally pigs being sampled.
Oh.
He's not saying anything about your mom. Yes. Everyone thinks he's talking about their mom, and he's not. He's just being pigs grunting for food.
Oh gosh.
Well, the professor was very clear on that.
It's nice
but it
too,
sounds humanish, and they're like,
yeah.
Is he crazy?
Yeah, I like how the Mancubus too. Well, in Dead Simple, you meet with the Arachnotrons, the different type of fire. I like how the different enemies. It's neat how each of the monsters have their own type, of attack. Like the Mancubus has this fireball volley, and when you meet that, it's something new to you to be able to run into.
It's where he goes to your left, and then to your right, and then to the middle, and that makes it interesting because you can kind of figure out how to dodge to get away from him if you're careful, but no one ever really remembers, so he often gets a hit on you. But he looks super terrifying, which is fun. On the other hand, he's a big, fat, wide target, so it's easy to hit. So there's that. He was a really fun monster.
We do have to talk about the Revenant too, the classic Revenant.
The Revenant, yes. Well, what happened with the Revenant is that we had all these plastic models made on a turntable that you could pose, and we'd take photographs and swap it around, and the artist would turn it into the sprite. Well, all these were made for Doom 1, and the Revenant is one of the ones we made.
So was the Revenant supposed to be in Doom 1? It just didn't make it?
They decided not to put it in Doom 1, even though we'd made it.
Oh, wow.
So then, we had the art, so it had to go into Doom 2, so we had to figure out what it would do. Adrian gave it that awesome animation of the punch, which was super adorable. And then John Carmack comes in and says, hey, I invented a way for there to be homing rockets.
Ooh, yeah.
So then we're like,
there you go.
Look to the Revenant. Homing rockets. That's a win for us.
It's another new
that was
thing.
Pretty great.
Another cool new thing. And he's not super tanky, but he is skinny. So
yeah.
If you ever get in a boxing match with him, that's always fun too and challenging.
It is, he actually he's all about the fisticuffs.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's kind of fun. And if you want to hang back, then he punishes you with the rockets. So you have to go on up, anyway.
Hopefully you have a berserk.
Later on in Quake, we decided to use the heat-seeking missile again with the Vors. And I promise I did not know that the Vor was like a fetish word when I named it that, okay?
That's just the internet.
I never have named it that if I'd known.
I think it's got its own legacy.
Because if they would have stopped me. So the Vor fires that seeking projectile. And what happened is originally the projectile went kind of slow, and which made it super effective in chasing you because it would go around. Like John Romero once was running around a pillar, the thing chased him, and it eventually caught him as he ran around the pillar. So then he got mad, and so he made it go faster so he could dodge behind the pillar and be missed. And then the Vor's seeking thing wasn't as good before. Once he put it in the big open hall. So that was too bad.
It sounds like
I liked having the seeking missile thing.
Sounds like it originated from the Revenant and kind of influenced onward.
It kind of originated from the Revenant, yeah. In Doom 2, we didn't have a final boss, so we had that ridiculous thing on the wall.
Yeah.
We would put John Romero's head inside of it, which, by the way, we didn't tell Romero we were doing that. So one day, and we thought our plan, Adrian and my plan, was that John Romero, Adrian even put a little pain frame in it, so
right.
When I got hit, and the idea was that basically we knew we had to have an object inside the head for your rockets to hit, to damage the head. So we had the idea we'll put John Romero's head in a stick because we joked about doing that before, so we did it, and we our goal was that he wouldn't find out till the game was released. Tragically, he was no clipping through the level, and he saw it, and he got a glimpse of himself and he said, what? And he went back and saw it, and then he came storming into the art room, laughing his head off, and he was fully on board with that then.
And then
then he recorded his voice saying, and we did backwards because he loved it so much. So that was
he was a good sport about, to win the game you must defeat me, John Romero. Flipped around.
He was a very good sport. He thought that was terrific. So anyway, there was that.
I like too, speaking of, the Chaingunner that we talked a little bit about before, heavy weapons dude. Well, how did he start out? Where did he come from?
Okay, so he was my idea, and what happened is I said, we need more monsters in Doom 2, which they all agreed, and then, and you know, Carmack says, but they can't take a lot of time away from the art stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, an easy thing to do is we add another zombie, and we'll make him black so that we have, you know, that we're not racist, and we'll make him the toughest zombie. And they said, what are they armed with? I said, well, the obvious thing is to give him a chain gun or a rocket launcher, and nobody wanted to give him a rocket launcher because, for one thing, he'd kill himself all the time.
Oh yeah,
so
that'd be rough.
That's why he got the chain gun, and then he'd be doing pretty cool because you could, like, he could be far away across the map and start shooting at you. You had to figure out where he was, which was kind of cool.
And you had to do it
also
fast.
All the monsters in the game had them. But that was it. And I think they made him green because they had some kind of color scheme they were going through with the creatures.
Is there anything kind of looking back?
Red. He was red.
Yeah. Whenever the other interview portions are uploaded, I'll put them on the screen here. But till then, check out my Doom 30 Year Super Shotgun video. It's really cool. Thank you to the channel members for the support, and thank you for watching.